Hmm. Mike should be on. I'm already. I'm pressing it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm pressing it. I have no idea if this gonna work or even be consistent. It's been raining in Maryland today. I had to drive home in the rain. It has been raining. It might still be raining outside. It has been a rainy type of day, very cloudy. Started to rain towards the evening, so I ain't really sure this finna hold up. Cause I know once it starts raining, there goes the stream. But we are here and we are gonna give this a shot because I think there's a few things we can talk about. Oh boy, what is going on, John? How are you doing, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you tuning in. We got a conversation to have here today. Ravens play in less than 48 hours because we play Thanksgiving night in Baltimore against the Cincinnati Bengals. Ah, it's going to be an interesting one. And based on the reports and how everything's going, we will most likely be playing Burrow. So it will be Burrow and Lamar going at it on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving. Should be a good one. I got Peacock, but I don't really watch. I don't use it as much. I don't really use Peacock as much. I use it when I got no choice. Two games are good when games are going to be two games are good. One game is going to be a beatdown, and we all know the Cowgirls can't beat good teams over 500 if it's not a divisional opponent. We'll see what happens, dude. I just hope the games are competitive. Who knows what's gonna happen? Um, but yeah, we got some things to talk about here because this game is it's uh it's an important game for the Ravens. Obviously the offense itself needs to show up. I think if there's any time for the offense to show up, this would have to be the game. You're going up against a bad defense. If there's any game that you need to use as a get right game offensively, this is the game. Hey, buddy, as a Bengals fan, good luck to you. Lots of respect. Enjoy your channel. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much, man. But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting test for the Ravens because with Joe Burrow back, I mean the offense has been doing a fantastic job with Joe Flacco. But you know, Joe Burrow being back means that offense is gonna be dangerous. What's going on, Loyal? Appreciate it, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, my guy. I gotta say this right now, man. Can we have a break in 2026? NFL, can we have a break, please? This is 3 straight years you've had us play on a holiday. Can we have a break? 2023, we had to play on Christmas in San Francisco. Last year, we had to play on Christmas at Houston. This year, we're playing the Bengals on Thanksgiving. Like, bro, it's been 3 straight holidays. I know y'all want to be able to push this Lamar Jackson hype as much as you can because you know he's gonna bring the attention. They keep putting the Ravens on all these damn. They don't give us as many primetime games as we should, but they always keep putting us on a freaking holiday game. Like, can our players, why do we gotta be the ones? Okay, you already got this tradition where the Lions and the Cowboys play on Thanksgiving. Fine. That's been happening for a long time. Why y'all trying to drag us into this? 3 straight years, Baltimore gotta play on a holiday, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving now. We good. We good. Can we get a break next year? Can you look what's happening with the AFC West? I don't know. Maybe things get interesting there. Maybe put one of those Bills and Patriots game on Thanksgiving or something like that. Go look at the AFC West. It's competitive again. Go bother those guys again for a holiday game next year. Y'all can't keep putting us. Y'all cannot keep putting us on these holiday games, man. Our players want to be able to spend time with their families on the holiday. Why is it we gotta spend our Christmases and our Thanksgiving on prime time? At the same time, it's an honor to be able to playing these games. I'm sure Lamar said himself. And as a fan, I'm not gonna lie, it makes me 1,000 times more engaged in the games when my team's playing. When my team's not playing, I can just enjoy it in the background. But when my team's playing, I have to be locked in for the Thanksgiving game. So you're certainly getting my attention. But it would be nice to not have to play on a holiday. It would be nice to be able to not have to play on Christmas or Thanksgiving. Be cool, especially right now. Really don't want to have to play this game. Don't want to have to see. Well, I keep talking as if I'm going to play. But yeah, really, really don't want the Ravens to have to play on a short week here, especially with injuries piling up. But, it is what it is. Never thought I'd ever in my life root for Dallas. But against Kansas City, though, I hope Dak cooks up that defense and Pat throws 2 picks. We'll see what happens. That is an important game. That's a crucial game. It's a must-win game for both teams because both teams are fighting for their playoff lives. Whoever loses that game, their playoff hopes significantly drop. Like, it drops massively. And it's going to be a situation where even if they go on a run, at least with Dallas, if they lose to the Chiefs, but win their final 5 games, 5-1 could put them at a position where they could potentially make the playoffs if things work their way. If Kansas City loses, though, I don't know. They don't have the tiebreakers over anybody. Jacksonville, they don't got the tiebreakers over them. They don't got the tiebreakers over the Chargers or the Broncos if the Broncos somehow fall out of that top seed spot in the division. They don't have a tiebreaker over the Bills, who also aren't going to win their division right now, as of right now. So, they don't have tiebreakers over anybody. The only tiebreaker they have is against Baltimore. Baltimore actually leading the division right now made them drop to 10th place. They were they were at 9? They were at 9 prior to, I think they were at 8 or 9 prior to Baltimore taking first place. They have a tiebreaker over Baltimore, so that's why they were able to rise up. But if Pittsburgh's back there, Pittsburgh has the tiebreaker over them, even though they didn't play head-to-head. I think it's by strength of wins. Or it's either conference wins or strength of wins. Either way, the tiebreaker, the advantage goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's just like Baltimore being first place in their division makes it harder for Kansas City to try to get one of these wild card spots. They have a lot of work to do. So yeah, you get that game. In fact, let me see. What are the 3? Is it Lions? Hold on. I believe it's Lions Packers. Could be wrong about that. Let's see. Yeah, Lions Packers. This is huge. Lions Packers, both teams right now in the wild card spot, actively looking. Matter of fact, let me take a look at the playoff race right now for the NFL, because this is you gotta take a look at the playoff picture here, because everything's shaking up here on everything's gonna be shaken up here when it comes to this game. So take a look at the playoff picture. When it comes to the AFC, the number 1 seed is the New England Patriots at 10-2. The Denver Broncos were on a bye week. They will play the Commanders this Sunday, so we'll see about that. So they're at the number 2 seed at 9-2. The Colts are the number 3 seed at 8-3. Baltimore is the number 4 seed at 6-5 because they're first in the AFC North. The Chargers are the 5 seed at 7-4. The Jaguars are the 6 seed at 7-4, and the Buffalo Bills dropped all the way to the 7 seed at 7-4. All 3 wildcard spots in the AFC, 7-4. The teams that are on the bubble, the Texans, they are 6-5. If they end up having the same record as the Buffalo Bills, so if Buffalo loses, this is big. Buffalo plays Pittsburgh this week. If Buffalo loses to the Steelers and the Texans win, the Texans take that 7th spot because they have the tiebreaker. They just beat the Bills to get that tiebreaker on the head-to-head. So Buffalo cannot afford to lose this week either. Neither could the Steelers, because if they lose and Baltimore beats the Bengals, now you've got distance in the AFC North. That puts them in a tough situation. The Steelers are also 6-5. They're at the 9th spot. Kansas City dropped to the 10th spot because Baltimore ended up, taking first place in the division right now. They're at 6-5. The Dolphins are at 4-7 and could potentially run the table and get to 10-7 and hope for things to work out. They're still technically alive. So are the Bengals, who could run the table and potentially win the AFC North. And then Cleveland, Raiders, and all this other stuff, it don't matter. The teams that aren't going to get there are the teams that aren't going to get there. Then you take a look at the NFC. The number 1 seed in the NFC is the Rams at 9-2. Philadelphia lost, so they dropped to the 2 seed. They're at 8-3. The Chicago Bears are also at 8-3, and they're leading their division right now in the NFC North. The Bucs are 6-5, and they're trying to stay alive. Panthers lost, so they ended up dropping out. Actually, no, they weren't even in the wild card spot, but they ended up dropping down, excuse me. Or maybe they stayed the same, I don't know. Either way, the Bucks are 6-5, trying to hold on to first place in the NFC South. In terms of the 3 wild card spots, Seahawks are 8-3, Packers are 7-3-1, and the 49ers are 8-4. Outside of the playoffs right now, the Detroit Lions at 7-4. They're at number 8. The Panthers are number 9 at 6-6. The Cowboys are number 10 at 5-5-1. And then you go to the Falcons at 4-7, Vikings at 4-7, and the Cardinals at 3-8, and so on and so forth. So, these Thanksgiving games, and then the Black Friday game, because we got 3 Thanksgiving games. We got Packers, Lions, we got Chiefs, Cowboys, we've got Bengals, Ravens. Then you've got that Friday game for Black Friday. Why are they playing at 3 p.m.? Who playing on a... All right, bro. All right, Bears, Eagles, 3 p.m. game. This is big. So let's talk about this for a second here. This is big for everybody. This is big for everybody. When you take a look at this first aspect, Lions, Packers. Like I said, the Packers right now are the 6th seed at 7-3-1. The Detroit Lions are out of the playoffs right now at number 8 at 7-4. Detroit loses this, they put themselves in a serious hole. Not a serious hole, but they put themselves in a bit of a hole, or they put themselves in a problematic situation because the Seahawks are 8-3, the Niners are 8-4, and the Packers will have the advantage over them. Those 3 wildcard spots to get in the NFC is going to be very rough, and the Lions cannot afford to lose. If the Packers lose and the Lions win, Lions go to 8-4, they'll take the 9th spot, they'll take the 7th spot, and Green Bay falls out of the playoff race because they'll be 7-4-1. That is where, actually no, if the Packers are 7-4-1 and the Niners are 8-4. You know what? We'll see. Green Bay may just drop down to 7, or they may drop out and Detroit goes in. This is a must-win game for both teams. It's an NFC North matchup. It is a must-win game for both teams. Chiefs, Cowboys, must-win game. Season's coming down to the wire. Both the Cowboys and the Chiefs are at the number 10 spot in their conference. Chiefs are 6-5. Cowboys are 5-5-1. Kansas City loses this one, the chances they're going to get into that wild card spot dramatically fall because the Chargers beat them the first time they met up against them, so they have the matchup right there. They lost head-to-head against the Jaguars, and they lost head-to-head to the Bills. So the Jaguars and Bills, they have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. The Texans and Steelers both have the tiebreaker via conference record or strength of wins or something like that. So Kansas City, they cannot afford to lose. They lose to the Cowboys, their season could realistically be done. Same for the Dallas Cowboys, who are at 5-5-1. They lose to the Chiefs, they'll be in trouble. However, they got their final opponents against NFC teams, and if they run the table against the NFC teams, they have a better shot. I think this game is more important to the Chiefs than the Cowboys just because of playoff seeding right now. The Chiefs lose this one, they're in serious trouble. The Cowboys lose this one, they got a bunch of NFC teams to match up with, including teams in their division. This could really work out for the Cowboys. They lose to the Chiefs, they could still run the table with those NFC opponents and find their way potentially in the playoffs. But if Kansas City loses, their season could be in serious jeopardy. They could be on the collapse, and that could ultimately be it for the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs. Last game here, we have the Bengals and the Ravens. Well, not last game here. We'll talk about that other one. We've got the Bengals and the Ravens, and this doesn't have a huge implication on playoff positioning for the Bengals. It just keeps them alive. However, for Baltimore, you're first place in the AFC North right now, and you currently sit as the 4th seed in the playoff race. If Baltimore loses, they're going to fall out of first place, and they'll have to hope Pittsburgh loses to the Bills to regain first place. Meanwhile, if the Bengals win, they technically keep their season alive and give themselves a shot to try to run the table to get back into this and potentially win the AFC North. That's unlikely, but the possibility is still there. If Baltimore wins, that's the end of the season for the for the Bengals. Baltimore wins, Bengals fall to 3-9, their season is cooked completely. As for the Ravens, if they win, they stay in first place in the AFC North. They'll keep that 4th spot. And honestly, if you're a Ravens fan, you'll probably be, not hoping, but you'll probably be watching that Bills-Steelers game very, very, very crucially, because the winner of that one would change things up. If Buffalo beats Pittsburgh, dude, I'm not even gonna lie. This is really fun. This right here is incredibly fun. This is a win-win for the Ravens. If the Ravens can beat the Bengals, it's all cool. But this is a win-win because if the Bills beat the Steelers, Baltimore's staying in first place no matter what. If the Steelers somehow beat the Bills could fall out of the playoffs right now. Because if the Texans win this week, Texans win, Bills lose, Bills take the 7th spot because they have the tiebreaker because they just beat the Bills head-to-head. So this could be a beneficial weekend for a Ravens fan, especially if you got agendas to push. Last but not least, we have Eagles and Bears. This is important for playoff seeding because Philadelphia and Chicago both have an 8-3 record. If the Bears win this, they go to 9-3. They'll be further solidifying themselves in that division to try to take first place and win that division. But most importantly, they will be able to be the number 2 seed in the NFC. Chicago, a team no one expected. Granted, however you feel about them, however you feel about the teams they beat, however you feel about their record. If the Bears beat the Eagles, they will be the number 2 seeded team in the NFC. Huge playoff implications here. Huge implications for playoff seedings. All of it taking place on Thanksgiving Thursday and Black Friday. So this is gonna be chaotic. Eagles, Bears on Black Friday, and Bears, Packers next week will feed families. We got a lot of great games coming up. I'm a Bengals fan. Yeah, y'all own us, but winning against us all the time ain't happening. We'll see what happens here. I'm not really interested in talking about, or I'm not interested in focusing on the past. Yeah, we've owned you guys, I guess, in the past, but that has nothing to do with the matchup on Thursday. At the end of the day, different season, different opportunities here. We have to make sure we handle business. Because if we don't handle business, we're as good as cooked. We could potentially ruin our season if we can't beat the Bills. If we can't beat the Bengals on Thursday. So, the focus has to be beating Cincinnati. At the very least, beat them in our house. If we end up losing in Cincinnati and splitting with them, that's a different conversation. But they're coming to Baltimore. They're coming to M&T Bank Stadium to play in our building. We should win this game. There should be no reason to lose it. So if we end up losing in Cincinnati in 2 weeks, whatever. But this game, we got to win it. Don't worry, Rio. Congrats on the AFC North for the 3rd straight year. It's far too early for that, John. Y'all go 11-6 while Steelers will finish 9-8 or 6-11. Way too early to declare that, man. The interesting part about the AFC North is you never know how things are going to turn. Baltimore isn't guaranteed to just fly straight to first place and then stick with it and then never give it up. Baltimore and Pittsburgh have to face off against each other twice. And Baltimore's past has not been pleasant when it comes to their matchups against the Steelers. They have played poorly against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year was finally a breakthrough where they beat them when they came to Baltimore and then beat them in the wildcard round. They beat them 2 straight times. Us Ravens fans are hopeful this is the start of a very positive trend where we finally start beating the Steelers a lot more. But it's not a guarantee. And with the way our offensive line is playing and Lamar clearly being banged up, concerns have to come up when we face off against the Steelers within the next 10 days. So I am very concerned about that aspect. But I'm not going to worry about Pittsburgh just yet. We'll focus on Cincinnati. All I'm saying is the AFC North race is far from over. Pittsburgh will find a way to finish with a winning record. If it ends up being 9-8, it ends up being 9-8. But Baltimore can't just sit around and not handle business and just assume they're going to automatically get the division just because they're back in it. Pittsburgh has always been able to have our number and they play us tough. Cincinnati has been able to play us tough. The difference is we've been able to win those games due to some random circumstance. Last year, we won in overtime in Cincinnati, and then we won at home because the Bengals went for 2. They didn't get it. Both of those were somewhat the second one was a controversial ending because there should have been a penalty, but nothing was called. And then the other game, Lamar took us into Bengals territory. The fumble happened, and then for some reason, Zach Taylor decided to run the ball. They got 3 straight times to set up a field goal. They missed. Next thing you know, toss to Derrick Henry. He takes us to the 5-yard line. We kick the game-winning field goal. We win that one. So the games between Baltimore and Cincinnati, they've been close. In fact, the last few years, they've been relatively close. I mean, they've come to Baltimore a few times, and these games have come down to the wire. It's come down to a game-winning field goal. This is not going to be an easy game. Not saying it's always going to happen. I'm pretty sure right back in 2023 when they came to Baltimore, we smacked them. But it's not always going to be an easy matchup, especially since Joe Burrow is here. Especially with Joe Burrow being here. So I'm not going to say the Ravens have won the AFC North. It's far too early for that. I'm not interested in being like some Steelers fans when they were 4-1 and Baltimore was 1-5, and they were like, "Oh man, we about to be 5-1, and we about to really separate ourselves, and we're gonna take the division." I'm not gonna do that because we saw what happened and how the reversal happened. So I'm not interested in doing that. All right, I just realized if Kansas City loses both to both Texans, the day is trouble. But they beat the Cowboys. Every time they get a big win, they fall flat in their face the next game. Houston, defense is nasty. Kansas City's playing playoff games right now. They're in playoff mode. I don't think they're going to lose these games. Happy early Thanksgiving, man. I'm glad Joe Burrow was playing. I want our defense to be tested. But with Jamar Chase, I don't know who they got out of Chase and Higgins. But defense will go. Well, I mean, they got Yosivas. So he and that guy was able to get a couple good plays on us. So they'll definitely be looking to use him. Is it possible Colts lose 2 more games? They still got to play the Texans twice. It's very possible. They got to play the Texans twice, and they got to play the Jaguars. It's very possible the Colts lose these games. They're playing division games. Matter of fact, let's pull up right now the Colts' remaining schedule. Let me go to ESPN real quick. I could pull up the Colts' remaining schedule right now to show you it is very, very incredibly possible that the Indianapolis Colts could lose 2 more games. The Colts, to end the season, they've got the Texans on Sunday, then the Jaguars, then the Seahawks, then the Niners, then the Jaguars again, then the Texans. They have to play Houston and Jacksonville twice. Keep in mind, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 7-4. The Houston Texans are 6-5. The Indianapolis Colts are 8-3. It is very possible the Colts lose 2 more games because 4 of their last 6 games are against divisional opponents. And they're against divisional opponents that are right behind them fighting for the AFC South. It is very possible that the Colts lose 2 more games because they're going up against divisional rivals that are actively trying to take first place from them. It's very possible the Colts lose 2 more games. Very, very, very possible the Colts lose 2 more games. The only reason why Burrow is coming back because he wants to beat the Ravens in the worst possible way. I can tell it eats him alive. Well, he didn't even want to play in Baltimore for these primetime games. He wanted to be in Cincinnati, but you know, it didn't work out that way. So it is what it is. Again, John, I mean, I get you trying to sit back and say that. I'm not. Baltimore is banged up right now. Lamar is actively hurt and he's playing hurt. Our offensive line has not been playing well. Our offense as a whole has been struggling. We have our own reasons to be concerned. I don't think it's going to be a whooping. I would love for that to be the case, but the indications haven't showcased that. Now, if Lamar is healthy enough to go out there and be Lamar, awesome. If the offensive line can do their job for once, awesome. If the play calling's on point, awesome. We'll be able to win the game, assuming our defense can find a way to at least slow down Jamar Chase and, make sure Joe Burrow doesn't go off. If that happens, sure, we can win. But I'm not sold on it. Again, the Ravens are still a work in progress. They're surviving games. They survived against Cleveland. They survived against the Jets. They survived against the Vikings. They're surviving in these games. The final score isn't showcasing it, but in actuality, they've been surviving in a lot of these games because they're off to these slow starts in the first half. They're playing poorly in the first half, making the adjustments and playing better in the second half, but they put themselves in the hole in the first half and have to fight their way through in the second half. It's not fun to watch these guys go into halftime and there's only 3 points of offense in a whole half. Against the Jets of all teams. They scored 3 points in the first half, scored 20 points in the second half. That's just, that 20 points in the second half is fine, but you at least got to get 10, somewhere between you got to get, not 10, 14 points. Give me 14 points in the first half. We got to get that 20 points in the second half. That's 34 points. We would have been fine. But we just didn't execute in that first half. So it's not quite over, and Cincinnati can definitely beat us if we're not playing our A game. If we beat the Steelers, it'll be because we finally benched 77. He's not getting benched. When's the last time the Ravens led the AFC North and collapsed horribly to where the Steelers and Bengals won it? That's never happened. Unless we're thinking about the 2000s. There's never been a... yeah. The last two, 2021 and 2022 is... Okay, wait. When's the last time the Okay. The last time, but we're going to be technical, John. The last time the Ravens led the AFC North and collapsed horribly to where the Steelers and Bengals won it, 2021 and 2022. The Ravens had a multiple game advantage over the Cincinnati Bengals. Lamar got hurt, out for the rest of the season. We didn't know it was a season-ending injury, both with the ankle, which was a bone bruise, and then with the knee in 2022. Both those years we had multiple leads again, multiple game leads against the Bengals for first place, because we had like a 2-game lead, I think, in 2022, and then we had like a 3-game lead in 2021, and we blew it because in 2021 Baltimore didn't win a single game after Lamar went down, and in 2022 I think Baltimore won 1 game, maybe 2. And the 1 game they won was against the Falcons to clinch themselves a playoff spot. But by then, Cincinnati already eclipsed us because Lamar had been out for like multiple games. So, yeah, 2021 and 2022 is the last 2 times the Ravens have led the AFC North and collapsed to where the Steelers or Bengals won it. But in those cases, our franchise quarterback wasn't playing, so it made sense as to what had happened. But they've never collapsed when Lamar has been the starting quarterback. When Lamar has been the starting quarterback, they have not collapsed. They've won the division when they've had the lead. The only time they didn't win, because let me see, Lamar 2018 won the AFC North, 2019 won the AFC North, 2021 injured, had the lead in the AFC North, injured, had the lead in the AFC North in 2022, injured, and then 2023 and 2024 we won the AFC North, and we're trying to win the AFC North once again. The only time we did not win the AFC North was in 2020. That was the year the Pittsburgh Steelers had the fakest 11-0 team we've ever seen. So because of that, they got the division. But yeah, that's the only year we've lost the division where Lamar has been fully healthy and has played the games. But other than that, we pretty much win the division with Lamar here. So it is what it is. Bills should be afraid of the Bengals. Now remember, Josh Allen never beat Joe Burrow in the regular season or playoffs. He's never beaten Joe Burrow in the Bengals? I could have swore they won one of... No, I guess they... Okay. No, I guess they didn't. I could have sworn they won one of those games. Well, we'll see what happens there. Bills right now have to focus on the Steelers, because if they blow it, Bengals coming in after that, that could be problematic, especially because if they lose the Steelers, they could drop out of the playoff race right now and fall to that 8th spot. Colts' schedule is miserable. They don't have any easy games left. Well, that was to be expected. They had a soft schedule to start off. Let's take a look at the teams the Colts had to play against early on. They had the Dolphins. They had the Broncos before the Broncos became the Broncos. They had the Tennessee Titans. They had the Rams, who they lost to. They played the Raiders. They played the Cardinals. They beat the Chargers, which was a mixed bag there. Played the Titans. They swept them. The Titans were 2 easy wins for them. They beat the Steelers. They lost to the Steelers, beat the Falcons, lost to the Chiefs. So if we're going to look at it, the Dolphins is not an impressive win. So that's 1, 2, 3 for the 2 Titans games. Those are not impressive wins. So that's right there. That's 3 of their 8 wins that are not impressive. The Raiders game is not impressive. The Cardinals game is not impressive. That's 5 of their wins that's not impressive. The Falcons one is also not impressive. So that's 6. The only 2 impressive wins were against the Chargers and the Broncos. So I can at least give them that. 2. 2 may be the only... Yeah, 2 games. 2 games at most. I would say maybe 1, depending on how you feel about... Denver in week 2 may not have been that team. Who knows? They beat them 29-28. Denver had not become the team they are right now, so take that as you will, but I'm going to give them credit. They have 2 strong wins this year. The Indianapolis Colts have 2 strong wins this year against the Chargers and against the Broncos. That's it. The rest of these ones are filler games. And the games they did lose was against the Rams, who are the best team in the NFC, the Steelers, who are competing for a playoff spot, and at that time, they were leading the AFC North, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the Kansas City Chiefs. So against teams we expect to be contenders, or at least playoff teams, they've been losing to. The only 2 wins they had were against the Broncos and the Chargers, so give them credit. But their schedule was relatively easy. 2 easy games with the Titans, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Cardinals. I mean, they were getting all these easy games. So they had an easy schedule. That's why they're 8-3. Now you got to face off against a tough part of your schedule. You got to go 3-3. You got to go 3-3. And no, I'm just saying, you got to go 3-3. Why do I feel like the Chargers will collapse and miss the playoffs? It's very possible. I wouldn't put it past the Chargers. The Chargers usually find a way to screw themselves over in the most opportune moment. So it's very possible. It is very possible. You need to do a video on the issues with this Ravens team that this win streak is overshadowing. Let's see if the Ravens can beat the Bengals. I mean, whether or not they beat the Bengals, I will probably make a video on this. But if they beat the Bengals and win 6 straight games, I will start speaking on some of the issues with this team. It starts, from the offensive line to the play calling to Lamar's health to some of the things defensively. I want to see what this defense is going to do. T. Higgins is not there, so it's a little bit kind of skewed, but it's Joe Burrow coming back with Jamar Chase and that high-octane offense. I want to see what our defense can do against an elite quarterback. It's fine when you're beating JJ McCarthy and when you're beating JJ McCarthy and the Vikings, when you're beating Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders coming out there for his first ever NFL action. It's cool when you're beating on Tyrod Taylor. That's nice. 2 in the Dolphins, especially when they were playing like trash. That's nice. That's cool. Those aren't strong quarterbacks you're going up against. The best of that is technically Tua. What is Lamar dealing with? I thought he was healthy. I know you ain't been watching Lamar. What has Lamar been dealing with? Okay, so let me actually get the chart out here because Lamar, have you been? I guess I'm gonna give you the benefit. I'm gonna just sit back and say you probably weren't paying attention to what's been happening with Lamar. Let me just give you the quick note. Lamar being healthy, boy, I wish. So let me just give you the insight here. Let's see. Let me bring this up because I want to give you this. I want to speak on the specific ones. Lamar healthy. So let's start off. Lamar got injured first in week 5. He first got injured in week 5 with the hamstring injury. He got injured in the Kansas. I think it was maybe not week 5, week 4, whatever. He got injured against Kansas City in week 4. That's what I should have said. After the Chiefs game, he suffered a hamstring injury. He missed weeks 5 through 9. Just dealing with that hamstring injury. He ended up coming back and playing after the Bears game. So he suffered a hamstring injury. Then there we go. Weeks 4 through 9. Weeks 4 through 9, Lamar Jackson suffered through a hamstring injury. He came back. He played against the Dolphins. We won. Then you get to week 11. He ends up on the injury report for a knee injury. Week 4 is when the hamstring injury happened, and he was out for weeks 4 through 9. He comes back week 10. We win against the Dolphins. Then week 11, we're taking on, who was it, the Vikings? And after that game, Lamar is dealing with a knee injury. So Lamar, after recovering from the hamstring injury, he ends up on the injury report with a knee injury. He missed the practice due to that knee injury, but he ended up practicing on Thursday, and he went to play against the Cleveland Browns. After the Cleveland Browns game last week, he showed up on the injury report again. It went from a knee injury to an ankle injury with Lamar Jackson. He did not practice for one of those days. However, he returned for Thursday. He practiced. He was playing. He played on Sunday against the New York Jets. During that Jets game, in the first quarter, somebody landed on his foot and he suffered a toe injury. He had to play the rest of the game with the toe injury. Lamar revealed that today. Someone asked, when did that toe injury happen? It happened in the game against the Jets. In the first quarter, somebody stepped on his foot or landed on his foot in the first quarter, and he suffered that toe injury there, and he just played through it for the rest of the game. But Lamar showed up on the injury list this week with a toe injury. He missed practice yesterday. He practiced today. He will be playing Thursday night. So no, Lamar has not been fully healthy. In fact, he's technically been fully healthy weeks 1 through 3 and week 10. Weeks 1 through 3 and week 10. He's only been healthy for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks, he's been healthy. Other than that, he's dealing with a knee injury. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's dealing with a toe injury. So no, Lamar has not been healthy this year. He has not been healthy at all. He has not been healthy. At Ravens versus Patriots, December 21st game. They definitely flexing that game for Sunday night. Bengals versus Dolphins. Still, yeah, they're going to flex that game. Ravens and Patriots going to play it Sunday night, which it's going to be, that means it's another primetime game in Baltimore because the Patriots are coming to Baltimore. So that's definitely going to be another primetime game. So yeah. Lamar seems like he's still recovering from an injury. Yeah, he is. He's been playing through a multitude of injuries this year, all on the same side. Um, Pretty much there haven't been any reports on it being on a different side, so it's pretty much been the same leg. Unless they do report that it's like, oh, the knee's on the left side, but the ankle's on the right side. Either way, if you've watched Lamar Jackson, if you've seen him, if you saw him on the game, and if you saw him on the game, if you saw him in the game on Sunday, he taped up his ankles. He completely taped up his ankles. He's never taped up his ankles like that before. I've never watched in his nearly 9-year career. I've never once watched Lamar step on that field with his ankles taped up the way it was on Sunday against the Jets. He's actively playing hurt. And his ankles are still taped up. I think they showed him in practice earlier. His ankles are still taped up. He's not 100%. Never seen him walking around with that much tape on his ankles. He's playing hurt. But it's the National Football League. It happens. Everybody's nicked up at this point. You just got to play through it. Dolphins are in the worst situation right now. They need a quarterback, but because they gave Tua that contract, now they're stuck with them. They can't draft a quarterback. I mean, you can still draft a quarterback in the first round if you had a first-round pick. But if you don't, yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Broncos, Jaguars in Week 16. I mean, it can go either way. It just depends on what they want to do. Do they want to do Trevor Lawrence versus Drake May on Sunday night, or do they want to do Lamar Jackson versus... Excuse me. Let me take myself back there because I know I messed up. Do they want to do Trevor Lawrence versus Bo Nix on Sunday night, or do they want to do Lamar Jackson versus Drake May? Thank you. That's the right way. So it depends. Who do they want? Do they want Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence on Sunday Night Football? Or do they want Drake May and Lamar Jackson on Sunday Night Football? Either way, some games getting flexed into Sunday Night Football because you can't do Dolphins, Bengals. I hate the O-line. They're going to get our QB1 hurt. Oh, they've already gotten him hurt. The focus now is they've already got him hurt. The focus and hope is that they don't get him fully compromised to where it's all over. So, yeah, it is what it is. What the Rams are doing on offense was what we was doing last year, literally, and the first 4 games of this year. I mean, it's just execution. Executing, play calling's been swift. The execution's been great. The offensive line's been protecting Stafford, and guys just dealing right now. Also, Stafford's been healthy, so that helps. What's going on, legend? Keeping it real was good, fam. What's your thoughts on the fight situation, Niners Panthers? Oh yeah, well there was a situation because I saw that this morning. I don't remember the player's name, but somebody like punched Jennings punched him square in the nuts, and they started scrapping. Yeah, I will not be surprised if fines are handed out, and the person that punched Jennings probably ends up getting suspended. I would say probably, but honestly, I think it's just gonna be a bunch of fines. Either way, I think both players are gonna end up getting punished, but one's gonna get punished more than the other because it was clear as day you punched him straight in the nuts for no reason. That was crazy. A group of polar bears will do a better job at protecting L-Jack than that O-line. It's pretty sad. Stafford is retiring either after this year or the next. You think they're coming for Lamar because his contract is almost over? I don't know, and I can't speculate on that. I'm not going to talk about potential speculations to come after Lamar for contract situations. We're in the middle of the season. I don't know anything about that. Lamar doesn't even talk about his contract during the regular season. That's a question for the offseason, especially because Stafford's right now trying to win a ring, and Lamar is trying to get this team to the playoffs and try to go on a run. Both teams are trying to get themselves going for January, so I can't talk about potential retirements or contract situations. That's an offseason question. Trevor Lawrence is the most confusing quarterback of all time. Either he makes great throws like prime Tom Brady or horrendous throws like Jamarcus Russell's. He's a hot and cold guy. Panthers DB who punched him was already suspended. That's what I thought. I was like, he's probably going to get suspended, or if they don't want to, he's going to get heavily fined. It would be cool to see that if you're not a fan of the Ravens, but I have no interest in watching Lamar off the Ravens. So, yeah. Man, I wish you walk in circles in your basement for, like, special games. That was pretty dope. I still do that, but I do that for the shorts. If you check out my channel, James, I make shorts now for the content, and I actually do walking around. But I can't do a live stream while walking around in circles. I can't just pick this camera up on my desktop and walk around in circles. I can't do that, unfortunately. But yeah, Devontae Adams has 12 touchdowns, and like 10 of the 12 touchdowns are strictly in the red zone. And I think it's like 5 to 7 yards. It's crazy. He's been a huge red zone threat, and Stafford has been dealing there. But yeah, that aspect, I still do it, but I only do it for my shorts now. So whenever I create shorts, which is on my channel if you want to check out my shorts, yeah, I do the walking around for the shorts, but I can't. I'm not gonna make a 10 to 15 minute video walking around in a circle. My shorts are like 2 to 3 minutes, so I can do that for a 3 minute short. But 10, 15, 20. Nah, for a live stream, I can't do that. I mean, I have a PS5, so yeah. So I use PS5. But congratulations to you, man. Congrats on getting the PS5. But yeah, about this game. Um, Baltimore, Cincinnati. Lamar was at practice. What is this trash? Um, where is it? 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 Let me see. 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 Where? There we go. All right. Injury report here for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson missed practice on Monday. He did not participate. But today he was back at practice and he was a full participant. He was a full participant at practice. So, full participant. We talked about Lamar Jackson, but we failed to mention Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton suffered an ankle injury towards the end. It was sometime in the fourth quarter, but towards the end of the game against the Jets, Kyle Hamilton suffered an ankle injury and he visibly limped off the field. After the game, we were told, well, actually not after the game, but we were told yesterday that the ankle injury wasn't severe and that we could potentially see Kyle Hamilton play on Thursday against the Bengals. Well, he wasn't at practice yesterday. Today, he was at practice. He was limited. So he was limited in practice today. So got to keep that in mind. He was limited in practice. Also, another person that's dealing with an ankle injury, Rashad Bateman. He's been practicing the last 2 days. Although in both those practices, he's been limited. His injury has kind of been designated to be like a 2 to 3 week injury because it was like somewhat of a high sprain. So I don't know if we're gonna get Rashad Bateman back in time to play this game on Thursday night against the Bengals, but if we don't, he will certainly be back for the Steelers game. So yeah, he's practicing this week. He might play against the Bengals. Another person to take a look at here, Taven Bryan. He's suffering a knee injury. He did not participate in yesterday or today's practice. Him suffering that injury means there's a possibility that Aeneas Peebles or Carl Lawson will have to be upgraded to the active roster. They or like not upgraded to the active roster. I mean, not upgraded to an active roster. They'll have to be activated for the game, so they won't be on the inactive list. You're gonna have to make a choice. Taven Bryan's not gonna play. Taven Bryan is not going to play on Thursday. He's going to be out for some time. So this is going to force their hand. They're going to either have to play Aeneas Peebles or we finally get to see Carl Lawson. But they got one of those two is going to be activated for this game on Thursday. We'll just have to see how that goes. Other than that, Travis Jones, yet another person dealing with an ankle injury. He did not participate in practice yesterday. He was limited in practice today. So the Ravens got back Lamar Jackson. Let's see. They got back Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Travis Jones. No, yeah, they got Lamar Jackson, Travis Jones, and Kyle Hamilton all back in practice today, and there's a strong chance that all of these guys play on Thursday. So we'll see. Another thing to mention: Justice Hill has a neck injury. He did not participate in practice today. I don't know where that's gonna go long term, but yeah, he had a knee injury. Also, Keon Martin, who has a rib injury, he was limited in practice yesterday. He was full in practice today. So that's pretty much the injury list. Based off of this list, everybody except Taven Bryan and maybe Justice Hill is going to play because neck injuries are serious. If Justice Hill's dealing with a neck injury, there's a high chance he doesn't play on Thursday, but we'll have to wait and see. There's also a chance Rashad Bateman's not good to go for Thursday, but if he's not, we'll see him against Pittsburgh in 10 days after the game, of course. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, yeah, Interesting game. Interesting game coming up here. Interesting game coming up on Thursday because Joe Burrow will be back. Now, T. Higgins, he's already been ruled out. Um, Hendrickson's also been ruled out. So, two of their best players, or in my opinion, two of their four best players, they're all out. Both Hendrickson and Higgins. Both of them are out. They will not play in Thursday's game against the Ravens. However, Jamar Chase, he's back after his suspension, so he'll play on Thursday. And Joe Burrow is back. So you'll get Joe Burrow, you'll get Jamar Chase, you'll get the rest of this remnants of the offense, and we'll see what happens on Thursday. It should be an interesting game. I don't know how things are going to go down the stretch, but it should be a fun one to ultimately see. We'll see how things go in this game. I think Baltimore's offense has to show some sort of life here. You're going up against a bad defense. If there's any time for the Ravens offense to wake up and execute, this would be the game. Defensively, it's all about seeing what this defense is made of against elite quarterback and elite wide receiver. If they answer the call, people will feel more comfortable in talking about how this defense is playing. If they get smoked, people's going to sit back and say, well, look at who you've been playing. Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, JJ McCarthy, Tyrod Taylor. You got wins against those type of quarterbacks, and you dominate against those type of quarterbacks. That's not saying much. So Thursday will be a good early test for the Ravens defense to see if they've really turned things around and they can handle dealing with an elite quarterback and an elite wide receiver in a high octane offense. We will have to see. Aye. If Ohio State loses to Michigan, I'll shave my head to a jarhead buzz cut. Well, good luck with that. It would be great to get more Keaton Mitchell. We got to give him more looks. The offense has to wake up this game. Yeah, they have to definitely wake up this game. If they can't show up this game, it is problematic. So we need to see the offense show up. We need to see the very best of Todd Monken's play calling. We need to see the offensive line actually do their job for once because you're going up against a bad defense, or at least look like you know what you're doing. Falele Voorhees. Yeah, offensive line's got to execute, and Lamar just has to play well. If he's gonna battle through injuries, we at least need to see something positive from him. He can't be going out there on a week to week basis and playing the way he's been playing these last few games. He has not played well. He's got to get back into form. I have not. I actually have heard of it. I've never seen someone actually have that butts cut. I've heard of it before. I just haven't seen it. So John is gonna get his job saved once again by talent. I mean, is there any other choice? They're gonna go out there and play the games, and you've got a quarterback that has no interest in losing. So if they win, I mean, John's gonna keep his job because of talent. Like, what else is new? I mean, that happens to a lot of coaches. You know. No lethargic starts. They got to start fast. Even Lamar's talked about it. The offense has to start fast, and they got to stay fast. If they can't execute against this defense, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you talk about it last. They were going up against the Vikings defense. The Vikings have a good defense. The Jets have a good defense. The Browns have a good defense. I mean, these are tough defenses that the Ravens were going up against the last few games, so it makes sense. I've never watched Jarhead. But yeah, it makes sense that the offense is gonna have struggles against good defenses with good front sevens. So it makes sense. But against this Bengals team, there should be no reason we see struggles. We need to see this Ravens team operate and get things done. What are my thoughts on Lamar running a 4.7 speed lately? My thoughts is that he's injured. I don't have any other thoughts other than the fact that he's hurt. He's clearly hurt. He's dealing with a knee injury. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's dealing with a toe injury. And he's hurt. I don't know what else to say. My thoughts is he's hurt. So it makes sense why he's not been performing the way he's normally performed. He's hurt. That's my thoughts. Lamar is hurt, and we got to get him healthy as soon as possible. So we got to continue with this heartbreak for more years. I hope Lamar don't resign if no changes with this. Again, I don't control anything there, and if Lamar doesn't want to leave, he's not going to leave. So, again, and I don't even know what's going to happen in the offseason. So I don't know what to tell you, man. This is just how teams operate. So if we got to continue with this, so be it. That's just how things work. I don't know what else to tell you. None of us control what the front office is going to do. None of us control what the owner is going to do. John is going to stay as long as he wants to continue to coach. There's no reason for him to be fired. The only reason he would lose his job is if the Ravens missed the playoffs in a year where Lamar, and even this year, if they missed the playoffs, there would be excuses for that they'd pull up. Even though they fought back from 1-5, Lamar being injured for much of this, and then him battling through injuries, and if he doesn't finish the year, yeah, that's a clear excuse for John to be back next year. So they've already got the excuses ready as to why John's not going anywhere. But even if this team does make the playoffs, John's not going anywhere. It would have to be a year where the Ravens are fully healthy for the whole season and somehow miss the playoffs. Then it would be like, all right, John really does got to go. But at the end of the day, even if that did happen, more people would just blame Lamar than say it's John's fault. Because Lamar fully healthy missing the playoffs is something we've never seen before. A win will make this mini bye week that much better. A healthy win would make it that much better. It's not just about a win. I need a healthy win. We need Lamar to come out of this game healthy. We need Kyle Hamilton to come out of the game healthy. We need all these guys coming out. First of all, Harbaugh has never been my man. So I don't know why you lying like that. You've been on this channel long enough to know that's not my man. So let's not troll me like that. You can go find anybody in this chat to say that's the man. We ain't doing that with me today, bro. It is 11:42 at night, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. I ain't with the gimmicks. That has never been my man's. The only coach I have gone to bat for has been Eric Spoelstra. That's the only coach I've gone to bat for. I wouldn't say Lamar looks chubby and out of shape. Again, he looks injured. it's not like he's chubby and out of shape. Lamar looks the exact same way he looked last year. The only difference is he's actively hurt. So it's not him being chubby and out of shape. He's in shape. He's fine. He's not chubby. The problem is his entire leg is compromised. He's got a knee injury. He's got an ankle injury. He's got a toe injury. He's barely walking on that damn leg. So that's why he looks the way he looks. When your entire leg is hurt, yeah, you're probably not going to look like the same guy that's able to do whatever you want. So no, he doesn't. He's not out of shape, and he's not chubby. His entire leg is injured from his knee to his ankle to his freaking toe. He's hurt. When you're hurt, you're going to look different. So no, he's not out of shape, and he's not chubby. He looks the exact same way he looked last year. The only difference is he's hurt this year, so he can't move. I guess that's why people assume he's chubby, because he can't move. When you get hurt, and also when you're Lamar Jackson, you get hurt, you start moving slowly, oh yeah, you definitely got to be out of shape. No, he's just hurt. He's just hurt. It's as simple as that. He's just hurt. I would never want to picture that, bro. You know, we've already seen Harden without the beard when he first came in the league. That's just his signature. So he's going to be with that moving forward. I don't think he's ever going to shave the beard. Or maybe he may do that when he's an old man, but the beard is his look. That's his iconic look. That's his signature. It might be in his contracts nowadays that he has to keep that beard, but he's lived with it for pretty much all his life. He's been in the league since, yeah, I mean, for nearly half his life, he's been living with that beard. Why isn't John fired for keeping the old? He's never going to be fired. I don't understand. You're asking these questions as if we've got the answer. They're not firing him for keeping the O-line like this. They're not firing him for that. Again, at the end of the day, when it comes to the O-line being out there like that, they're just going to look to EDC because they'll ask, why didn't EDC get better offensive linemen? Then you'll be like, why didn't they fire EDC for not doing it? John's not getting fired for anything that happens. He's not getting fired for anything that happens. You're asking all these questions. We've asked these questions for years. Y'all gonna have to wake up and realize he's not getting fired. He's not. The only way that would happen, we would have to miss the playoffs in a year where the team's healthy. And when the team's healthy, they're not missing the playoffs. So no. Yeah, 2009. So yeah, he's been in the league for a long time. He's been half his life he's been in the league at this point. It's what, 16 years at this point? He's not getting fired if Lamar gets hurt. The fans don't have any control about what the owner's going to do. Unless you're telling me the fans are going to stop coming to the games, which they're not. The fans aren't going to get the head coach fired. No matter how much you want this to happen, Lamar gets hurt, Harbaugh's not getting fired for that. Lamar got hurt in 2 other previous years, and John's still been here. Harbaugh's not getting fired. And the fans can call for his job as much as they want. The only one that has the power to fire him is our owner in Steve Bisciotti. But he has literally been on the record in an interview while sitting right next to John Harbaugh talking about how he wants this team to win a Super Bowl more for John. He wants to see the Ravens win another Super Bowl more for John Harbaugh. He wants to see John Harbaugh win another ring. So no, he's not. He's not. So are we going to win a Super Bowl? That's not my job. I don't know, dude. You're asking questions. I don't have the answers for you. I'm not the owner. I can't make these decisions. How are they going to win the Super Bowl? You're asking all the questions we've been asking, man. How are we going to win the Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't know. We've made some suggestions. Add here, fix this, fix that. Don't put this crap out there. We've been saying it for years. How are they going to win a Super Bowl? You go ask the GM of our team, and you go ask the owner. What's going on, Eric? How you doing, bro? You go find the email of Eric DeCosta, and you go find the email of Steve Bisciotti, and ask him, how is this team going to win a Super Bowl? Go ask them. I don't got the answer for this. I don't. John is not getting fired. They're not getting rid of him. If Lamar gets hurt, that's not going to lead to John Harbaugh getting fired because he's been hurt multiple times. No quarterback and coach have won a Super Bowl if they didn't do it. Tell that to our owner. I can't do nothing for you, my guy. I don't got the answers. I'm not the owner of the team. Use that as evidence to go speak to our owner and say, hey, no other quarterback and coach have won a Super Bowl if they haven't done it within 5 years. Hey, go talk to our owner about that. I don't got the answers, bro. I don't got the answers. Glad to see you doing well, Eric. I ain't got the answers. I'm not the owner of the team. I'm not the GM. I can't make moves. We've been sitting here having these same discussions for years. Harbaugh ain't leaving. If you have all these questions about what they need to do, please go email our GM and our owner. Attitude. I don't have the answers for this. Go talk to the owner and go talk to the GM. I can't help you with these problems. I have no idea if they're going to win or not. I don't know. I have no clue. I can't answer that question because I don't know the answer to that. Based on my own opinion, with the way things are going, I don't think we're going to win. I've been on the record saying this years ago. I don't think we're winning a Super Bowl with John Harbaugh here. Please go email our GM and our owner and tell them this. I was on the record 3 years ago saying I do not believe at this point we are going to win another Super Bowl with John Harbaugh being here. It's time for a change. I, like many other people, were pioneering for, and I know we don't want to bring this up because it just hurts to see. We said it 3 years ago. I've been saying it even before. I said, like, when Harbaugh decided to stick with Greg Roman, I said it's time for him to go. When Harbaugh decided to showcase full loyalty to Greg Roman, I said, all right, Harbaugh, you can go with him too. But in terms of this pioneer for a new head coach, I said it 3 years ago. Mike McDonald was in our coaching staff. He was our defensive coordinator. I said, make him the head coach. At the end of the year, give him the head coaching spot. Mike McDonald should have been our new head coach. I, like many said, move off of John Harbaugh, move him to the front office, give him a front office job, and let Mike McDonald become the next head coach. We're not going to win if we keep 7-7 and Voorhees starting. Tell that to our coach. I've been saying that for years, not even years. Well, I did say that last year about Falele, but I've been saying that all season long. Tell that to our coach, tell that to our GM, and tell that to our owner. I can't do nothing about that, bro. I can't do nothing about that. I've been saying we should have both of them be benched, but there's nothing I can do about them. Again, as much as we want to sit back and say we got them to fire Greg Roman, if we got them to fire Greg Roman, I would disagree with that. If we really got them to fire Greg Roman would have been gone with the same year, 2021. The same year they decided to fire Wink Martindale should have been the same year they decided to fire Greg Roman because we were on the fire Greg Roman trade. Everybody, the fan base was chanting actively with the fire Greg Roman chants all the way back in 2021. If the fans got Greg Roman fired, he would have been fired with Wink Martindale. Instead, he sticked around for 2022. So take that as you will. All right, more pain on the way. It is what it is, bro. Like I said, I'm not tripping. At the end of the day, the team's gonna make the decisions they feel they want to make, and they're just gonna live with the results. If it doesn't lead, I already said our owner doesn't care about winning a Super Bowl. He doesn't care. The guy is already been our owner when we won the championship, so he's not worried about winning other championships. As long as Lamar Jackson is here and making him money, that's all he cares about. Yes, we all remember it. I covered it. I made a video on it. I don't think that's the main reason why ultimately they moved on from him. A big part of it has to do with the fact that Lamar was about to be franchised. His contract was done. His contract was up. His contract was actively up, and if they didn't give him an extension, he was going to be a free agent unless they tagged him. Lamar Jackson didn't directly say it, but everybody knew Lamar Jackson was sick of Greg Roman and his schemes. So a big part of Greg Roman being gone has to do with Lamar Jackson entering free agency after, the crap that had happened. And it already looked like Lamar was done with Greg Roman. So unless Lamar is done with John Harbaugh and visibly shows it, or at least indirectly shows that he's done with John Harbaugh, John's not going anywhere. EDC doesn't have the fire. He doesn't have the guts to fire his next door neighbor. And Steve Bisciotti loves John Harbaugh. He's not firing him. He actively said in the interview he wants to see the Ravens win another championship specifically for John Harbaugh. He's not firing him. So, again, y'all can continue to push these narratives and whatever you want to push, it ain't happening. Yeah, Lamar has the leverage, so he has a 70 million cap hit, so he controls this organization this offseason. And I've been on record saying that as well. If Lamar sees these issues and has problems with what's happening, he has to speak up and say, I'm not signing that extension unless these changes are made. And if they don't make changes, don't sign the extension. They'll be forced to trade you. They can franchise tag you as much. They'll be forced to trade you. So if they don't listen to his demands, they'll be forced to trade him. And that'll just be the end of the Lamar Jackson era in Baltimore. But yeah, he does got the leverage there. It's up to him to use it. If he doesn't use it, then he'll be part of the problem, and you'll have to live with whatever results happen. I've been said this. I already made. Oh no, that's no. One. Oh no, you don't. No, you don't. Easy. 2. Woo! We ain't doing that today. We are not doing that today. That's what he did in his first contract. Again, it's up to Lamar to do whatever he wants to do. I don't have control over anything. I'm just a fan talking about the team. But, in terms of the control Lamar has, that's not going to happen until the offseason. He doesn't talk about his contract now. So in terms of this season, there's nothing you can do about it. You can probably pack this season up if you want to, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, Ravens sit at 6-5. They play the Bengals on Thursday. If they win, they go to 7-5, and then we just continue to train here. Hopefully, we get to the playoffs, and then we see what happens there. Everyone's already expecting another disappointing loss in the postseason, so it is what it is. I already, just like I said last year, I'm gonna say it this year because they went back to back. I'm not concerned or it's tripping. I'm not sweating it. I'm not tripping over it. I'm not concerned. If the Ravens don't win this year, so be it. The Dodgers won the World Series last year, and then they went back-to-back this year. I'm already mentally drained after following that whole October run with the Dodgers. The World Series took a lot out of me mentally as a sports fan. So if we don't win the Super Bowl this year, I'm not really going to care. I said that. I literally said that when I made my live stream for Game 7 of the World Series after we won. I sat back and said the Dodgers went back-to-back. I'm at peace. If the Ravens don't make the playoffs, it ain't going to bother me. If they make the playoffs and go one and done, it won't bother me. So, it is what it is. I wish the team listened to my rants. If they listened to the rants of the Ravens fans, Farley and Voorhees would have been benched. If we win the Super Bowl, cool, great. I have an optimistic video coming up where I talked about that, where I'm talking about the aspect of that, because I've even made a tweet about it, and said the Ravens can't win when they're dominating. The only time they can win is within the element of chaos. 2020, not 2012. No, yeah, 2012. I was about to say 2012. What am I talking about? 2012 and 2000. Those were the 2 years. 2000. That Ravens offense was terrible. They went 7 games without scoring a touchdown. They had to bench the quarterback and go to Trent Dilfer. They went into the playoffs and no one thought they were going to win. They weren't expected to win. They weren't even expected to get to the title game. But they got to the AFC Championship game, and they weren't expected to beat the Raiders, but they did. And they got to Super Bowl and won. That was an unexpected run that no one expected. Even with that defense being great, the offense was so terrible, people thought there's no way they're going to get to the Super Bowl. And they did, and they won. 2012, they weren't supposed to sniff the Super Bowl. Everyone said they blew it after 2011. That was their one and only chance to get to the Super Bowl. Lee Evans dropped the pass. Freaking Billy Cundiff couldn't make the kick. And we missed our chance to win the Super Bowl. Or at least get to the Super Bowl and potentially beat the Giants. So 2012, no one was picking us to really go to the Super Bowl. People already had questions about Flacco, about whether or not he could be a legitimate franchise guy, and the Ravens didn't pay him that contract, so he bet on himself. That whole season was filled with chaos. Ray Lewis suffered what was seen at that time as season-ending injury. He missed a significant time in the regular season. The team was reeling. They were on the verge of missing the playoffs. They did get it together in time to beat the defending champions, the New York Giants, when they did come to Baltimore. Ray Lewis came back at the end of the year. There was a whole mutiny. The mutiny happened. They had to make some changes. They fired their offensive coordinator and Cam Cameron and let Jim Caldwell take over. They actually moved, what was it, our left tackle. They actually made a change at the offensive line because it wasn't working out. So, yeah, in 2012, it was nothing short of chaos. In 2012, it was nothing short of chaos. There was so many chaotic moments. We weren't expected to. We were barely expected to make the playoffs. And we nearly missed the playoffs because of some of the losses that we suffered, humiliating losses. But we made the playoffs. And when we got to the postseason, no one picked us to do anything significant. It was supposed to be another story in the Brady and Manning matchup. It was supposed to be Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning in Denver for the AFC Championship game. Baltimore went into Denver the divisional round in a game that they had no business winning because they faced off against the Denver Broncos in the regular season and got smacked by 17. We got cooked in the regular season against the Denver Broncos. But we went into Mile High and we beat them. And then we went and got our revenge against Brady, and then we went to the Super Bowl and won. So in years of chaos, we've won Super Bowls. If there's any year to win, it would be a year of chaos like this. You start off 1-5, everybody's damn near hurt, looks like your season's over. You rally, you win the division, you get to the playoffs, you go on the run, you're going to run and win the Super Bowl. That could happen. I'm not denying that. That could happen. It's possible. I don't see it happening, and I'm not going to put my hopes and beliefs and faith in that. I have no interest in, doing that. But the possibility's there. Do I think Rosengarten and Linderbaum regress because of Voorhees and Falele? That's an interesting question. That's a very interesting question because we've all talked about the regression that we've seen. We've all talked about the regression that we've seen from both Linderbaum and Rosengarten because they haven't looked like how they looked last year. The regression's been real, but I think part of it has to deal with the fact that they're dealing with Voorhees and Falele right next, especially with Linderbaum. Linderbaum has Voorhees on one side and Linderbaum on the other side, and it may be times where those guys not doing their jobs ends up putting him in the compromising position. So I think it's possible to say that. With Rosengarten, I say a little bit, but at the same time, there's been plenty of moments where Roger Rosengarten's just been getting manhandled and getting beat off the edge. So part of it could be because of the two in front right next to them. The other part could be just an actual level of regression between the two of them just not performing the way they were performing last year. So it may be a little bit both. Yeah, we won our first defense because our defense was fearless enough to compete. Yes, but people still didn't pick us to win in the postseason. They didn't even think we would win the AFC title game. We wouldn't even expect it to go that far. Everyone knew what our defense was and respected the defense, but when you have an offense in which you don't score a touchdown for 7 games, no one's going to buy into you guys going into the playoffs and winning, no matter how dominant your defense was. So no, even though we had that historical legendary defense, we were still not a team that people picked to come out of the AFC that year. So when we did get to Super Bowl, it was surprising by everybody. And when we dominated the Giants, it was surprising surprising to everybody that was watching. But, it was a historically great defense. They did their jobs. We had chaos last year and lost. Not really the type of chaos that we've had in 2000 or the chaos that we had in 2012. We've been the chaos that we're having this year. It hasn't really been that type of chaos. Because again, last year the chaos was the defense not playing well, and we started 1-2, but we bounced back early. The level of chaos we went through last year is not the level of chaos we went through this year at 1-5. Not even close. Also, the O-line coach also has something to do with why they look trash. Yeah, I mean, our O-line coach passed away, rest in peace. So, that does play a role. Linderbaum getting blown up at the point of attack like hand grenades. He hasn't played well. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We proved our doubters wrong. You're missing the point, Justin. I'm not saying that the 2000 Ravens didn't prove their doubters wrong. What I'm saying is, in those years that we won the Super Bowl, we weren't favored. That's why I'm saying in terms because he's bringing up what if they win this year? It'd be just like 2012 because this year feels like 2012. And I'm saying, well, that could happen because in 2012 we weren't favored. People didn't think we were going to do much. We went on a run and proved them wrong. In 2000, we weren't favored. We weren't viewed as a team that was going to win the Super Bowl, and we proved them wrong. I'm not saying the Ravens didn't prove them wrong. What I'm saying is they didn't pick us to win. And those were years where they didn't see us doing anything, and we went and won it all. The Ravens have won their 2 championships in years where people didn't expect anything from us. Whereas when they've had expectations put on them to dominate and get it done, they have fallen short, specifically in the Lamar Jackson era. So, it seems like the only way the Ravens can win is in years where things are absolutely chaotic and they're not even close to being favored heading into the postseason. In fact, they may not even make the playoffs with the way they're playing. So a year like this fits perfectly in the history of the Ravens to try to go on a run from this. Well, at least, yeah, this year we did. This year we did start the season as Super Bowl favorites. This year was an aspect, and we haven't even come close to, proving that. In fact, that probably adds to the feel of chaos that this year was, because we were starting off the season as Super Bowl favorites. In fact, for the first 3 quarters of week 1, we looked like we were going to win it all. And then we choked to the Bills. And it was all downhill from there in a string of chaos where we go 1-5 while everybody's getting hurt. But now, you've gotten everybody back healthy. You've won 5 straight games. You're on the rise. You could win your division. And let's see what happens come playoff time. Is it possible that the Big Four can miss the playoffs? Yes, it's very possible. The Bills and the Chiefs are actively in positions where they can miss the playoffs. The Chiefs aren't even in the playoffs right now. If they lose 1 or 2 more games, their season's probably done. Buffalo, if they lose next week, they could be on the outside looking in because Houston has a tiebreaker. And if they lose a few more of those games, Buffalo can also miss the playoffs. The Bengals aren't going to make the playoffs no matter what you want to say. And if Baltimore loses the division out to Pittsburgh, they're not making the playoffs. So yes, it is very possible that the Big Four can miss the playoffs this year. Burrow's going to miss the playoffs. Mahomes, if they lose 1 or 2 more games, that's his season, and that's their season as a whole. Buffalo, they mess around, they can miss the playoffs too. And if Baltimore can't win the division over Pittsburgh, they're missing the playoffs too. So yes, Nicholas, it is very possible that the Big Four can miss the playoffs. Very, very possible. Will it happen? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, I am going to end things here. We got a game. We ain't got a game. We got 3 games on Thanksgiving, which will take place tomorrow because it's 12 o'clock. So today's the 26th. So it's officially Wednesday. Tomorrow, we will be having the Thanksgiving games, and the Ravens will take on the Cincinnati Bengals in what will be a crucial game. We will just have to see how things go there for the most part. Yeah, I'm going to end things here, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I just wanted to get a stream done quickly, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm surprised. The stream was able to hold up the entire time, and it was consistent. It was raining outside. Whenever it rains, my stream is inconsistent. Whenever it rains, I never know what's going to happen with my stream. But it was consistent. It was fine. It held up. It's all good. So I'm happy to see that. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You'll probably see me on Thanksgiving. Actually, I can't even guarantee it. I don't know if I'm going to be here for Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure I have someone to be on Thanksgiving. If Thanksgiving's not happening at the house, I'm off. If it's happening at the house, you'll see me for the stream. I really hope. I'm going to keep track of time. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm gonna do an all-day Thanksgiving stream because let's be realistic. No one's just you're not. Yeah, it's not realistic for me to do an all-day stream. I'm not going to be sitting at this office the whole day on Thanksgiving. We know that's not going to happen. And I don't even know if I'm going to be home for Thanksgiving. So it's just like, yeah. But obviously, I will be recapping. And if I'm here, and that's a huge if I'm here, obviously I'll be streaming the Ravens-Bengals game. But if I'm not here, well, I'll be sure to make a recap video. I'll make it short, and we'll probably have a live stream afterwards to discuss the game. So be on the lookout. But with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys later because I got work in the morning, and I don't feel the need to try to stay up late at night because I got to be up early in the morning. With that being said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate everybody, and I will see you guys later. Be sure to stay safe